Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And a couple words in the old intro hasn't rang so true ever, as it's another video, as this is one of the two videos that's going to be uploaded in the space of 4 hours. I do apologise about that, but the guy you're looking at right now, this guy right here, forgot to upload his league prediction video because I got lost in the excitement of a proper centre half being actually signed. So yeah, we're in the midst of a dirty double today, and if you know how YouTube works, ladies and gentlemen, they're not going to promote one of the videos. If you are watching today's video, please consider hitting that like button to help other people find the video, or if you haven't seen the Rangers Hearts video, please consider going searching for that at 6 o'clock tonight when it goes live, as you won't be notified because it's the way YouTube works. So I might just be talking to myself right now, but I didn't want to let you down regarding the league predictions, so let's go ahead and dive into it. And we're not repping our Rangers top today, because usually I sit here in a Rangers top and league predict and it goes badly wrong, as last year was one of my worst years I've ever had in terms of predictions. But now it's time to take it seriously. I've proper thought about this all summer, so I'm coming for this one. Let's dive into it. And as always, we're going to work away from the bottom to the top, and I'll give you a wee bit of information on each team, and I'll try and keep it shorter as usual. I can kind of pratter on and everybody gets a little bit bored. But going right to 12th spot, is it St Johnstone again? CJ, I hear you asking? Nah, troops, as we finally change the old tradition as we move away from St Johnstone and set our sights on another side. That's right, I told you, I'm taking it serious this year. Come back and check it. I'm telling you now, mark it down in your calendars. We're doing it right this year. 12th, we have none other than Ross County. And the reason for the old switcheroo, and the reason that I'm thinking Ross County is going to really struggle in this season, is simply because of what they've lost overall in terms of their team. The likes of Simon Murray, who might get a scoff from some of you that's currently watching today's video, he's such an important piece to their puzzle and helped with big goals and big games. You saw it against us, unfortunately, but it wasn't just turning up versus the old firm, you know what I mean? He had games there where he scored and the big goals changed at a point away from him that was vital for them, or getting a vital 3 points at home, and that throughout a season can prompt you up the table and put you in to safety. And I just feel like that's gone now, and that's a massive loss. And so is Danda, who we've spoken about a lot over the years on the channel. You know what I mean? He's usually a part of the thumbnail for the Ross County games. We talk about him in terms of the previews because he's one of these guys that stands out when you actually watch him, and that's why he's earned his way to Hearts, which we'll speak about later on, and obviously tonight at 6 o'clock. He is a very, very impressive player. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, he's good enough to play for the old firm or anything like that, but he's one of those players you sit back and watch in Scottish football, especially for what I try to do for you guys in terms of the previews. I watch a lot of Scottish football, and he's one that just stands out to me as he's got a wee bit of fit about him, and I feel like and I feel like him and Simon Murray's a massive chop at the old legs in terms of goals and creativity, and it's a very, very long season. Like, Ross County might have a good wee spell here or there, but again, it's a long season. I think those goals that's been chopped away and the creativity that's been strangled out the team will eventually have its say, and that's why Ross County will go down, despite the additions of the likes of Lammy in the back line, a bit of an experienced campaigner, if you want to go ahead and say that. But again, I'm not 100% sold on them defensively. They brought in Jack Hammond as well to get in and amongst the old goalkeeping battle. He has played the last 2 cup games, but he's conceded 2 goals, and for me, he can be very good on his day, but he's always been vulnerable to crosses, and it's a very cross-heavy league, as you know, so I don't see him being a saviour there at all either. So aye, Ross County fans, for the one person that's watching this video, unfortunately, I think your time's up. Moving on to 11, and honestly, this one was changing quite regularly, but again, there's just a team that's constantly drawn in my mind whenever I think of a team struggling, and apologies to the 2 St Johnstone fans. There's 1 Ross County, there's 2 St Johnstone fans. I still see St Johnstone struggling the majority of the old season. But as I have picked you to go ahead and struggle, it probably means you're going to go ahead and win both cups. Congratulations in advance. But aye, they've been very, very busy in terms of the transfers in, bringing in a lot of players, and it remains to be seen how those actually turn out. There is some interesting pieces, the likes of Ekpeazu, who they brought in from Port Vale, the centre forward. That could be a cheap fantasy football player to bring in, troops, if he hits the ground actually running. He is one to watch, or he could just fade to insecurity and obscurity, I should say, right there after a couple of months. You just never know. It's always a roll of the dice, especially with free transfer from the lower leagues of English football. But I had a wee look at him and I went, yeah, you can put the ball in the back of net now. Are they going to create chances for him? that remains to be seen. But aye, there's not a lot I actually love, especially in terms of outgoings when you look at them. Losing the likes of Liam Gordon now, which was probably the last bastion of what they had in terms of the defensive side that went ahead and won those both cups. For me, he's the heartbeat of that entire team. He really kept that machine going, and for me, losing him is what's going to again cause them to struggle all season. For me, he's arguably kept them in and helped play a major part in keeping them in the league, but now he's gone. Aye, it could be really, really close. I just feel like they'll probably edge it there over Ross County, who again for me, it's got 0 goal threat. Speaking of goal threat, that takes us to Motherwell, who I've currently got at 10th. Now, just to be honest with every person who's tuning in and watching, I was planning on putting Motherwell last for a large part of the actual summer, because I just saw piece after piece after piece leave. You know what I mean? Losing their captain, Liam Kelly. How many points has Liam Kelly saved them? You know what I mean? They say good keepers will get you 15 points and that could help you win a league table. Well, what about when you're down the bottom? How many points do they actually keep you? How many times did they solidify your status in terms of top flight? How many times did they keep you in a division? Losing Liam Kelly is massive. Losing McGabby was massive. Again, people can have their say on him, but he was big, he was physical, and he usually got himself amongst it. Often got a hand to things, if you know. You actually know. And of course, losing their other man by the name of Blair Spittle, who for me is their man in the middle. And I think a lot of the hype machine regarding Lennon Miller has sort of caused and changed people's narrative of who the guy was at Motherwell last season. But for me, it was Spittle. And again, he left for free to Hearts. You're starting to see a common theme here. Hearts picking up great SPFL players for free anyway, and that is massive to the team, and that's what I kept seeing. And then I was expecting Lennon Miller to be picked up. I was saying this team's gone down, this team's gone down, but so far they have stopped the bleeding in terms of the losses. They've kept the likes of Lennon Miller. They brought in Zach Robinson, who I thought was maybe going to be their guy from Dundee. Again, no unit set the world on fire, but he worked his arse off. He ran in, he scored a couple of goals. I thought, alright, okay, that's not great what they're actually doing, but they're bringing in smart players for the league. But as of recently, they've went ahead and apparently splashed the cash on the big Greek lad, and I'm using that as examples. That's what they said on the commentary on one of their recent games, so I'm going to copy that little meme that's already gone round. But either splashed the cash on a 25-year-old Greek striker who apparently puts the ball into the back of the net. And for me, again, goals are so vital. They're like gold dust, especially near the bottom of the league, and for me, that will have them floating around 10th in my personal opinion, despite what they've actually lost. And again, we talked about Liam Gordon in the last little bit, we're speaking about losing for St Johnstone. I think him going in to Motherwell keeps them in there and might even push them higher. I could get this one badly wrong because I really like Gordon as a player, and for me, you compare him with McGabby, I think Gordon's a better player, so I think they've improved that position. It's all down to the big Greek striker if he's going to put the ball into the back of the net. Now moving on to the old 9th position, and this is where I start to sway a little bit left, I swear a little bit right, as I'm going to go with Dundee United. And honestly, I have no idea how people are feeling regarding Dundee United going into the season, because again, I've not watched anybody else's league prediction video. I don't know if many people still do them these days, but I've not checked the likes of the betting market or what stuff are being said on Twitter, because I don't like getting led a certain way or swayed. I like everything I say being on this channel being my idea. Everybody thinks I'm an idiot or an arse and that because I didn't go on other people's stuff and I didn't talk to this or do this and this. I'm not being an arse. I just like my stuff that I say here being my ideas and my thoughts. That way it's always honest. I didn't want to pick up on what other people said or anything like that. So I don't know what people are predicting Dundee United today this season. They could be near the bottom because they've just came up through the old championship. But I'm going to go with something that I said last year, especially regarding a team that's very close to them in terms of Dundee. One of the few things I got right last year was predicted Dundee to do very, very well and get near that top 6. In fact, I think I predicted them to get in the top 6. I don't know. I can double check it and I'll let you know in the old comment section below if you're actually interested. But the reason I predicted Dundee to do so well, and the reason I'm predicting Dundee to do well on Dundee United, to do well on paper, is because for me, the teams that are like top 2 in the Championship and the teams that are like the bottom 2 or 3 teams in the SPFL, there isn't that imbalance. I know people like to pretend this and this and this and all that stuff, but for me, there isn't a lot actually in between it, and that's why I've always been in favour of a league expansion, so you can add these teams in, because there's no a lot in them. They're not going to get battered and bullied by the likes of Motherwell now. They're just that's just never going to happen. I think they are very close, and it's why I think teams that come up from the Championship, the likes of Kilmarnock, Dundee, all seem to do well, because there's no much in between them. And I think Dundee United, despite not recruiting heavily in the actual summer, I think their team's good enough to take points off. I think their team's built well enough. They got like the big deck and everything that at the old background. He's a bit of an experienced campaigner who might not play every game, but he's been around the block. He can help maybe the younger lads. You've got Tony Watt, who's had more clubs than Tiger Woods, and I understand why, but he's got a bit about him as well in terms of putting the ball in the back of it. He's calmed down a hell of a lot over the last couple of years. He's got himself focused back on his football, and when he's tuned in, he's going to be a very dangerous player, and he will score you goals in his top flight. And again, Glenn Middleton is someone who spoke about Middleton Hings over the years on the channel. Still a player I feel like we failed as a football club, as he showed such promise breaking onto the scene as an 18-year-old, scoring in Europe, man of the match, and then bombed out the squad, never seeing an actual gain. But again, that was down to our play style. We didn't want our left winger to be crossing it. We wanted Barisic to be crossing it. We wanted our left winger to cut inside and be a certain Ryan Kent. Glenn Middleton was set up to fail from almost day one, the signing of Ryan Kent. Killed him, and again, I'm not sitting saying he should have made it here or could have done this. I just feel like we didn't work that situation well and get the benefit of what Glenn Middleton is, and that is a very dangerous crosser. And despite the jury being out by some Dundee United players on who their best player is, for me, he's one to watch this season, because again, it's a heavy crossing league, or a cross heavy league, I should say, and I feel like he's going to chip up with some assists. So you're talking about defence, experienced campaigners, tough battling midfield, got enough creativity sprinkled on each wing, and you've got a guy up top that can occasionally put the ball in the back of it, and that's what I think is going to bump them up to 9. And moving on to 8th, which will make 9 very unhappy, but I'm pretty sure will please a lot of the 8 fans. That is none other than Dundee, which might be a controversial one, because again, they done so well last year and they deserve a hell of a lot of praise that they actually got. I was one of the few that actually backed them to do well, so it was nice to see until they started taking a point off us in the last home game of the season, and I wasn't too chuffed on that one. But again, we were folding like a deck chair. I'm over it, lads. But speaking of Dundee, I feel like maybe it's a little bit of a step back in that occasion, and that's not necessarily them being worse or them playing poorly. I just feel like the likes of Aberdeen and Hibs and everything like that will have better seasons that they've actually had. I think they will kick on. I don't think they'll play as badly as they did previously, and that's just going to knock Dundee down the actual leagues. But again, just near that 6, battling for top 6, I think every Dundee fan would actually take, especially if they're able to hold on to the likes of McCowan and Cameron, 2 players we spoke about very early last year before many knew their names, and now everybody sort of does. When you think of Dundee, you think of them, especially McCowan, who for me is their best player by far. Now, one of the problems with doing these league prediction videos of the 2nd of August at 11:02 when I'm actually recording it is we don't know how the transfer windows actually go. There's wee rumours McCowan, teams interested in McCowan. Cameron's always linked the way, so it is hard today, and they've not done too much besides adding the likes of Simon Murray, who again I think will chip in with a few goals. But I'm going to predict at one point this season, whether it's Sanu or it's in January, either McCowan or Cameron goes. That's what I've got to guess, because I'm making a prediction video before the Windies went ahead and closed, and I feel like that will knock off a little bit of their steam and just push them down. But again, they'll finish above Dundee United, I think, so I think they'll be happy with that. Now moving on to 7, and just missing out in that top 6 place, we're going to go with Hibs, and that is a bit of an interesting one as well, because I'm not sure on this one. This could go really right, or it could go very, very wrong in terms of Hibs. But again, as I'm recording today's video, they've not done pretty much anything in terms of strengthening their squad with the recruitment. I think they've had free transfers in that aspect, bringing in some players. Now, I actually like the business they've actually done, especially when you compare it with who they let go. They let go of Stevenson and Paul Hanlon, both players whose legs have left them a long time ago. Pull the string, pull the old heartstrings if you want. Put the emotions to one side and do what's best for the football club. And if you look at the free transfers that brought in, it is quick, it is younger versions or trying to replicate what they've done. Now, Stevenson's obviously been there for a long time. Hanlon's had great success at Hibs and all that as well, taking nothing away from them when they were at their peak, and I'm sure that's what they'll try to get to. But again, the legs have went, I like the injection and that, but I'm just not seeing enough. Again, Boyle's always got a goal. They've got a wee bit about them. The Los Ewan Henderson as well, who had a little bit of something about them. But again, I'm going to predict they'll bring in at least 1 or 2 more, if that's what the current rumours are or rumblings are in terms of Hibs. So I'm going to predict they'll bring in a wee bit more firepower just to strengthen that up. And again, the younger backline I think will make a massive difference to this Hibs side and stop them from conceding so many goals to so many teams in behind the defence. Now that the oldies, no offence, have left and they've brought in some young players, especially the centre-half at Blackpool. I think he'll be alright for them as well. So aye, Hibs, 7. And just making it into the old top 6 but not getting much further, I'm actually going to go with Aberdeen here. And again, it is a very difficult one. And you know, people say Scottish football's boring and Scottish football's crap and that, but I've had fun preparing for this video and looking at it because it is so close and it is so interesting, and people can say what they want about Scottish football, but there's no much between a lot of the teams there, and that brings in a bit of excitement and a bit of drama. And I feel like Aberdeen's going to hit in 6th, which I know some people's going to be surprised at. No, they're going to be back up in top 4 or anything like that, or they're going to, or maybe even they're going to go a wee bit lower. But I think 6, bang in the middle, despite me not being impressed in pretty much anything they've done so far. They've lost the likes of Connor Barron and Ruse, 2 players that's been vital in them picking up a couple points here and there, especially last season when they were absolutely garbage for the majority of it. And as it's looking, they're going to lose Duke, as there's some problems behind the scenes there. No travelling for this game, falling out with the manager here, blah 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 blah. They're probably going to lose him, who's been kind of checked out after his first very impressive season at Dundee. And they're still expected, as I'm currently on today's video, to lose Majowski. And if they lose Majowski, I would like to change my pick, please, officer. I would like to put them down a little bit further, but again, I'm rolling the dice that Aberdeen will be stingy and hold on to their key man unless a proper bid comes in. And if a bid does come in and they lose a player like Majowski, I'm then again going to predict that they'll have to go and spend some of that money and bring in new players. That's what I'm going to have to go with, because there is no way they can lose Duke and Majowski and accept that and keep what they've currently got in terms of the book, or their fans will go absolutely mental. So aye, 5 has none other than St Mirren. Now, as I'm currently recording today's video, they've just had that phenomenal result in Europe, so I know a fever high. People's going to be predicting this, people's going to be predicting that, and I understand it. It's a tremendous result and I congratulate them for it. It's good to see another team pulling their weight in Scottish football, but at the same time, I don't see them kicking into the top 4 just yet, despite again a phenomenal start to the season in terms of European football. I do like a lot of their team though. I can't sit and say, and the rest of the teams are going to talk about, I'm not going to have anything maybe negative to say. I just feel like as the season goes on, again it's a very long season, they're going to have peaks and the old valleys, and I just feel like St Mirren usually has that one towards the end of the season, which probably costs them for the position. If they could just keep their standard up, they would keep up there, but they always seem to trail away, and that's been the way for them. But again, I'm not sitting here as a St Mirren hater. If you remember the old SBFL show, I was one of the first passengers on the old St Mirren train saying they're getting better, watch St Mirren, watch St Mirren. I think they've got a good manager that can get the best out of the players. I thought they've done okay business so far, nothing too amazing in terms of what they're bringing in on paper, but the likes of Sean Rooney can bag in a couple goals here there, can always be an issue in the back line. He's already showed that so far this season. And Lacotti, who again is one we talked about here on the channel when he played for Ross County. We call him Cotty very lovingly right here, as a pain in the arse, as he looks a wee bit of a ticket. And when you put him with Gogic, you've got that bite, you've got that fight, you've got Rooney there as well. You can see what they're building, and I just like what they're building. You know what I mean? They build for back to front, and that's how they go about their business. They can play the pretty stuff, they can play football the right way, but when it's time to battle down the hatches and cause some issues to frustrate the life of you, they can also do that as well. They're no stuck into one system or one there. They can adjust to their opponent. I think they're a very good side, and I think they're going to have a very good season. 5th for St Mirren. Which takes me to 4 troops, and there's not going to be too much of variance from where it went last season, if I'm being brutally honest with you, but that's no detriment to them itself, as I'm picking Derek McKennis's men, Kilmarnock. And I think 4th will be another very good season for a Killie side that again shares a lot of similarities with how I feel about them as what I do with St Mirren. I do like the way they go about their business, you know what I mean? I think Derek is a very good manager who's again built from back to front. He understands there's no point in loading your team front heavy if you can't stop a ball in the air, which is always in the air in Scottish football. He understands he's in Scottish football. He builds for Scottish football, and I can see the success that they've had and the plaudits, the praise they've got. Now, they actually just got knocked out in Europe, but it was a very feisty game. It was a penalty kick that separated it, and they showed what they were about. I thought they'd done really well versus a guy who scored, 28 goals or something last season. You know what I mean? Kept them limited down, and that's a credit to them as well. And lucky for Robbie, had a very good 2 games, apart from one punch where he kind of messed up for a corner. But I'll allow him off. I like their transfer business. Again, Robbie McCrory coming in as a very smart bit of business in my personal opinion. The fact of being able to keep the likes, say, young David Watson in the middle of the park, who I'd have loved to have seen at actual Rangers, but he's not called David Watsino, so we're not interested in him or anything like that. You've got Danny Armstrong, who again just scores or assists. He almost averages a goal or assist every 3 games in his career in the top flight. He's Scottish football. You can't ask for much more than that. You know what I mean? You just can't in this league. If that's what he's averaging, fair play in a Kilmarnock side. Now, the addition of Bruce Anderson is one that it isn't necessarily the biggest one, but for me, you understand what it is. You know what I mean? The likes of Greggy Stewart's went back. The former Motherwell hitman Kevin Van Veen, which a loads of people was screaming at me saying we should sign him. He's went actually back after doing nothing. It's almost like he had a 1-season wonder at Motherwell. Who would have thought it? But Bruce Anderson coming in doesn't shake up the attack in terms of the front line, in terms of the starting 11. But what it is a willing runner that can run all damn day. That when the big laddie Vassell has ran his race, Bruce Anderson goes up and then you've got a different threat over the last 20 minutes of the game. And that's what I expect to see. The old 1-2 punch, if you will. Tire out the back line with the big lad and then put the runner on for the 20 minutes. It's old school, it's old tactics, whatever you want to call it. The new age laptops, the stats and statistic kids didn't actually care about it. But that is bread and butter football, and it's no surprise why Derek continues to get big results and big performances from a team with a wage budget of a packet of Chris. So aye, give them credit where credit's due. I think 4th is where they'll be. And again, that's nothing negative towards them. I just think it's a credit to how well Hearts have actually recruited. And now we'll go to Hearts, who are obviously in 3rd, despite what some people are saying and everything like that, or saying this and saying that. Come on now, let's not be silly here. I know I'm saying that 24 hours before we play Hearts. It could go really, really wrong. And instead of sitting here breaking down Hearts in the detail that I would like to for today's video, again, I'm going to be doing it at 6 o'clock. So if you want an in-depth breakdown and why I think Hearts are a very, very good side, and why for me they've had the best transfer window of everybody in Scotland. Yes, us and Celtic. Hearts have done unbelievable business. If you want to just find out how well they've actually done and just how great that they've recruited this summer, come back at 6 o'clock. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but again, YouTube's going to kill me with this double upload, so I'm trying to get people to check it out and give it a wee bit of a view, as I feel like it's a good enough video that we've actually made and we're getting ready to fire out this. So if you didn't mind checking that video, that'd be absolutely incredible. But again, I'll give you a wee tip, but the best bit of business that Hearts have actually done is keeping Lauren Shanklin the best goal scorer in Scotland and the player of the year in Scotland. There's not much more you can say. Goals wins you games. Goals are the hardest job in football. And what team has the best goal scorer? Which team has the guy that puts the ball in the back of net better than anybody? It's Hearts. So you've got to give them credit for that. And that's why, despite my praise and plaudits for Kilmarnock, I just think Hearts are going to top that there for Lawrence Shanklin FC. But again, if you come back at 6, you'll find out that it's no just Shanks anymore. But aye, more on that a wee bit later, which moves us to number 2. Can we get a wee bit of drum roll? You know what I mean? It's inciting, isn't it? It's obviously going to be Celtic. I mean, anyone expecting me as a Rangers fan the day before the season comes here and opens not to pick my team and be blind with bias is absolutely crazy. It's football. If you can't bury your head in the sand and hope and pray with every fibre of your being that your team is going to win, why are you even interested in actual football? Why do you care so much about football? This is it. You know what I mean? I don't care. I was doing it when we were absolutely guffing, had guys I wouldn't trust to buy my messages at Tesco 8 years ago to win the league. Of course, I'm going to go ahead to pick Rangers, and of course I'm going to ignore reason and everything like that, because what I've seen with my eyes doesn't suggest it. But again, I'm going to be biased, and I think I'm allowed to every now and again, ladies and gentlemen. Celtic have obviously improved, I think, their goalkeeping position with the signing of Kasper Schmeichel, the former Falkirk man, of course, coming in there, who's actually older than Joe Hart, but for me, he's better now. It does seem like a stopgap type signing, you know what I mean, especially with how long Joe Hart had given his notice that he was leaving, that he was retiring, blah, blah, blah. They had so much time, and to then bring in Kasper Schmeichel, who's at that age, at that point in his career, does seem a little bit weird, but it's box office, you know what I mean? That's what they like to call it. That's what they try and do. It's all smoke screen and mirrors. How you not spending any of that millions and millions and millions? Don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I mean? We're pocketing that, but here's Kasper Schmeichel for a year. He was in the Premier League and worked under Rodgers, but aye, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like the Celtic squad could really be putting the peril down and scaring the life out us by spending that money, but thankfully their board is keeping their purse strings closed and not spending and putting the foot down that they could do with the amount of money that they have gained for the automatic Champions League qualification and everything like that. They're not signing what their fans will want to, and as much as they laugh at us and mock at us for being bad in pre-season and this and that, they're as frustrated with their board as we are with ours in terms of spending and bringing in some quality. But again, you've got the likes of Kasper Schmeichel. They've just signed Bernardo as well in the last 24-48 hours as well. Very good player in the middle of the park. Now, whether they keep Matt O'Reilly could be a very, very interesting one. There's constant rumours about Hatate and everything like that. It'll be interesting to see how Rodgers handles Kyogo now when it was quite clear that he fancies Aida. I don't think Aida is back yet. He probably will end up back there. There's still a lot to go before the end of the transfer window. There's still 28 days left, and maybe Celtic will splash the cash again. I'm not a fortune teller, you know what I mean? I'm not sitting here that's able to look in the future and say they've went ahead and signed everybody they've wanted to sign. That's all I know. It's Kasper Schmeichel, Kasper Schmeichel and Bernardo, and aye, that's how I see it. Very good team. Won the league last year, won a double last year. Grow up. And aye, of course that means that we're first, ladies and gentlemen. Why am I doing that? I don't know. Just doing it. You know what I mean? I believe in Clement. Didn't really believe in a lot of the squad, but we've got a new proper centre-half, genuinely in more ways than one. I'm hoping to get another in before the transfer window ends in 28 days. I'm going to hope and pray that we somehow qualify for the Champions League, which brings in more money, that we can strengthen our team. And again, we can do hopes and dreams and whispers, but I'll be honest, I'm being biased here. For what I've seen on the park, are we good enough right now? Struggling, get beaten off or ran off the park versus League One side and youth teams all pre-season, while Celtic beat Man City and Chelsea and all that? No. I'm not saying a lot, but results didn't really matter. Remember the pre-season cup and everything like that? People used to joke when we played well in pre-season and they struggled. So maybe, just maybe, it'll go the other way. And that's what I'll hope. There's still a lot of time in the transfer window. I'm still hoping we're going to go and get another centre-half, because I don't believe in the actual defence. And I'll tell you something right now, and this is the God's honest truth, right? Right now, if you're still watching today's video, if we hadn't signed Robin last night, if we hadn't announced Robin proper as a centre-back last night, and I had to sit and look you in the eyes and talk about a Rangers team that was starting with Ben Davies and John Souttar in the back line to challenge this Celtic squad, would I have predicted us to come first? Yeah, I would have, because I'm biased. But I wouldn't have liked it, and that's the actual point. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's it. I'm finished. I will come back to this video at the end of next year. This time, just remind me. Somebody needs to let me know, because I get lost in the transfers. And that's it. Let me know your league predictions down there if you're still watching today's video. How do you feel? Where? Do you think we're good enough? Do you think Celtic's going to win 4 in a row? Who's going to go bottom? Just how good is this Hearts side this season? How much of a threat are they to Rangers? I guess we'll find out in 24 hours. But again, until 6 o'clock, which I hope to see a lot of you there, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.